Let's get started with first news. A UFC fighter has officially pulled out of an upcoming matchup, leaving his opponent waiting for a replacement just weeks before fight night. Gage Young was scheduled to take on Cody Steele at the UFC's August 22nd event in Sacramento, California. However, according to Young, Steele has now withdrawn from the fight. Young recently took to X to share the news with his fans. He wrote, "Cody pulled out, waiting for a replacement. I'll keep y'all posted." The withdrawal comes at an important time, with the August 22nd event getting closer and closer. That means the UFC will have to move quickly if they want to find a suitable replacement for Steele and keep Young on the card. For Young, staying on the event could be a great opportunity to continue building momentum in the UFC. The fighter is coming off what was likely the biggest victory of his career so far. Back in April, Young faced veteran Thiago Moises and managed to secure a split decision victory. It was a significant win for Young, especially against an experienced opponent like Moises, and it helped push his UFC record to 2 wins and 1 loss. Now, with his scheduled opponent out of the fight, Young's plans for August 22nd have suddenly changed. He is currently waiting to see who the UFC will bring in as a replacement. The promotion could potentially look for another fighter already on the roster who is available and willing to step in on short notice. However, with the event approaching, the options could become more limited. For Young, the goal remains the same: stay active, continue improving, and build on his recent victory. If the UFC finds a replacement soon, he could still have a chance to make another important statement inside the octagon. Move on to another news. UFC 331 is shaping up to be a huge event, and we now know exactly which fight will headline the card. Joshua Van will face Alexandre Pantoja in a high-stakes rematch, with the matchup officially set to serve as the main event. The announcement comes with Arman versus a co-main event, giving UFC 331 a strong top portion of the card. With both fights carrying significant implications, fans have plenty to look forward to when the event arrives. Joshua Van and Alexandre Pantoja have already shared the octagon once, and now they are preparing to settle things again. Their rematch adds an extra layer of excitement because both fighters will have something to prove. For Van, this is another opportunity to show that he belongs among the elite fighters in the division. A victory over Pantoja would be a major statement and could potentially move him even closer to championship contention. Meanwhile, Pantoja enters the rematch with his own motivation. Having already fought Van, he knows what to expect and will have the chance to make adjustments based on their previous encounter. That experience could become extremely important once the two step inside the octagon again. The rest of the UFC 331 card also features several interesting matchups, and the promotion is putting together a lineup that could deliver plenty of action from the opening fight all the way to the main event. Having Van versus Pantoja as the headliner gives the card a compelling storyline, especially because rematches often bring a completely different dynamic compared to the first meeting. With Arman serving as the co-main event and Van versus Pantoja closing out the night, UFC 331 now has 2 major fights at the top of the card. As the event gets closer, more details and additional matchups are expected to be announced. But for now, the main event is locked in, and fans can look forward to another highly anticipated showdown between Joshua Van and Alexandre Pantoja. Move on to another news. There has been a lot of speculation surrounding Charles Oliveira and his expected matchup with Arman. So let's take a closer look at what may have happened behind the scenes. According to the original reports from trusted sources, Arman versus Oliveira appeared to be the targeted matchup at one point. The fight seemed to be heading in the right direction. But recent events may have changed the situation and ultimately led to Oliveira no longer competing on the card. While there has not been a definitive public explanation confirming exactly why Oliveira withdrew, one major development could provide some important context. As we've previously covered, Oliveira's teammate and longtime friend, Alan Nascimento, recently passed away at just 34 years old. The loss was understandably devastating for those close to him, and Oliveira was among the people affected by the tragedy. Because of that, It is certainly possible that Oliveira decided to step away from competition so he could spend more time with his friends and family during such a difficult period. Preparing for a UFC fight requires an enormous amount of physical and mental commitment. Fighters have to deal with intense training sessions, strict nutrition, weight management, media obligations, and the pressure that comes with competing at the highest level. Trying to complete an entire training camp and make weight while dealing with a personal loss can be incredibly difficult. For Oliveira, taking time away from the octagon may have simply been the right decision under the circumstances. It is also important not to assume that we know the exact reason, unless Oliveira or his team officially confirms it. The timing of the withdrawal, however, has naturally led many fans to connect it with the recent tragedy. Oliveira has built a reputation as one of the toughest and most experienced fighters in the UFC. But moments like this remind us that fighters are people first. They have families, friends, teammates, and personal lives outside the octagon. Whatever the final reason behind Oliveira's withdrawal, hopefully he has the time and space he needs to be with the people closest to him. Meanwhile, Arman's fight plans have obviously been affected, and the UFC will now have to move forward with a different opponent or adjust the card accordingly. For now, the Oliveira situation remains surrounded by uncertainty, but the recent loss in his team makes the timing especially understandable, and fans will have to wait for any official clarification from Oliveira or the UFC. Move on to another news. We have some huge updates regarding UFC 331, and the main card has just gone through a major shakeup. Yesterday, we covered reports that Arman and Charles Oliveira were expected to run things back at UFC 331. At the time, it was even reported that both fighters were already in camp and preparing for the matchup. However, there was apparently one major issue holding the fight together. According to the original reports, Arman wanted a title to be on the line, while the BMF belt was reportedly not going to be available for the matchup. That situation appears to have played a major role in what happened next. After those reports came out, we received some big news regarding the UFC 331 headliners. Arman will not be fighting Oliveira. Instead, Arman is now expected to compete on the UFC's Los Angeles card, where he will face Mauricio Ruffy in a 5-round fight. This is a major opportunity for both fighters. For Arman, it will mark his return to competition after submitting Dan last November. It will also be only the second time he has fought since defeating Oliveira by split decision back in 2024. Arman enters this matchup riding an impressive 5-fight winning streak. He has been one of the most dangerous contenders in the division, and another victory could put him in an even stronger position moving forward. But Mauricio Ruffy is not an easy opponent. Ruffy is coming off an impressive finish over Michael Chandler at the UFC's White House event in June. That victory gave him even more momentum, and he has now gone 4-1 in his last 5 fights. With both men entering the matchup with plenty of confidence, this could be a very exciting fight. Following the announcement, Ruffy reacted to the news on Instagram, posting a video where he revealed that he is going to Australia for the fight. The change means UFC 331 will look very different from what fans were originally expecting. Instead of seeing the highly anticipated Arman versus Oliveira rematch, we now have Arman versus Ruffy, with the fight scheduled for 5 rounds. For Arman, this is another chance to prove himself against a dangerous and rapidly rising opponent. For Ruffy, defeating a fighter on a 5-fight winning streak would be a massive statement. With the headliners now taking shape, UFC 331 is already becoming an event filled with major storylines and unexpected changes. Move on to another news. Alexander Volkanovski is already preparing for what could be one of the toughest challenges of his featherweight reign as he gets ready for the wrestling of undefeated contender Movsar Evloev. There is still no official date for the expected matchup between Volkanovski and Evloev, but that has not stopped the champion from getting to work. Volkanovski is already taking steps to make sure he is fully prepared for the undefeated contender. So, what exactly is he working on? Wrestling. Volkanovski has been putting in serious time to take his wrestling and grappling to another level. The fight has not officially been announced yet, but Evloev has gone 10-0 in the UFC, including his latest victory over Lerone Murphy. With that kind of record, it is becoming increasingly difficult to imagine Evloev being passed over again, especially because Volkanovski and his team have publicly acknowledged that Evloev deserves a title shot. More recently, Volkanovski traveled to Thailand and returned to training at Bangtao MMA. In a new video posted on his YouTube channel, footage showed the former champion working extensively on his wrestling and grappling. During the same video, Volkanovski explained that he fully expects Evloev to be his next opponent, which is why he wants to start drilling wrestling techniques as early as possible. Volkanovski said the fight is not officially locked in, but it is becoming pretty obvious that Evloev will probably be next. He also explained that he completed a grappling session, worked through different techniques, and then went into several live rounds. The fact that Volkanovski has traveled overseas and is already working on specific areas of his game without even having an official fight date shows just how serious he is about staying ready. As for when this fight could actually happen, Volkanovski previously mentioned September as a potential timeline. However, the only numbered UFC event currently scheduled for September is UFC 331, which already features Arman vs. Mauricio Ruffy and Joshua Van vs. Alexander Pantoja 2. Because of that, Volkanovski vs. Evloev may not happen until October at the earliest, potentially at UFC 332 on October 3rd. If that timeline holds, Volkanovski would be 38 years old when he returns to defend his featherweight crown. For now, the matchup remains unconfirmed, but Volkanovski is already preparing for Evloev's biggest weapon. The undefeated contender brings elite wrestling into the equation, and the champion clearly knows that he needs to be ready for it. Move on to another news. Israel Adesanya has given Islam Makhachev some high praise for an underrated part of his striking game, specifically his use of feints during his fight against JDM. It is fair to say that Makhachev did not exactly electrify the world when he defeated JDM by unanimous decision last November. However, according to Adesanya, there were certain details in Makhachev's performance that really impressed him. In a recent video shared on X, Adesanya focused on Makhachev's constant use of feints throughout the fight. Adesanya explained that he sometimes feels like he over-feints himself, but believes that can actually be a good thing because it keeps opponents guessing about when the real attack is coming. He pointed out that Makhachev did something similar against JDM, repeatedly using feints before actually throwing his punches. At one point in the fight, Makhachev was reportedly feinting again and again, with Adesanya noting that he appeared to throw around a dozen feints before even attempting a jab. What made it even more impressive to Adesanya was that Makhachev continued doing this late in the fight, showing that the strategy was not simply something he used early before changing his approach. Makhachev is obviously known for his elite wrestling and dominant ground game. His ability to take opponents down and control them has been one of the biggest weapons in his career. But Adesanya's comments highlight another important part of Makhachev's skill set. His striking should not be overlooked. The constant feints can create hesitation, force opponents to react, and open up opportunities for actual strikes or takedowns. Against high-level competition, those small details can make a huge difference. Makhachev has already established himself as one of the most complete fighters in the UFC, and Adesanya's praise shows that even elite strikers are paying close attention to the technical side of his game. His performance against JDM may not have been the most spectacular fight for casual fans, but from a technical perspective, there was clearly plenty to appreciate. Move on to another news. Mauricio Ruffy has reacted to the huge news that he will face Arman in a major upcoming UFC matchup, and he is already making his intentions very clear. Ruffy is entering this fight with an extremely confident mindset. Rather than simply looking to win by decision or survive against a dangerous opponent, he says he is going into the fight with one goal in mind: the knockout. The big news was recently announced, with Ruffy officially set to face Arman in a highly anticipated matchup. For Ruffy, the stakes could not be much higher. He believes that winning this fight could take him straight to a title opportunity, making this one of the most important matchups of his career so far. Ruffy made it clear that he does not feel pressure heading into the fight. Instead, he says he feels privileged and extremely grateful for the opportunity. That mindset could be important when he steps inside the octagon against Arman. The Armenian contender is known for his elite wrestling, dangerous grappling, and ability to control fights at the highest level. But Ruffy is not backing down. He has already stated that he wants to finish Arman and does not want to leave the octagon without the result he is looking for. Ruffy said he is going to Australia to complete his full training camp, showing just how seriously he is taking this matchup. Traveling abroad and dedicating an entire camp to preparing for Arman could give him the opportunity to sharpen every part of his game before fight night. For Ruffy, this is more than just another fight. A victory over Arman would be a massive statement and could potentially put him directly into the title picture. With confidence, preparation, and a clear goal of scoring a knockout, Ruffy appears ready to embrace the challenge. Now, he will have to put everything together inside the octagon against one of the most dangerous contenders in the division. The matchup is officially taking shape, and Ruffy is already preparing for what could be the biggest fight of his career.